Life is often compared to a long journey, but in truth, it is much shorter than we imagine. We arrive in this world with empty hands, and one day we will leave it the same way. Along the road of life, we gather possessions, achievements, titles, and relationships, believing they belong to us forever. Yet, time quietly reminds us that nothing remains unchanged. Every season passes, every flower blooms and fades, every joyful meeting eventually faces a farewell. Ancient wisdom teaches us that life is like a temporary inn where travelers stop for a brief moment before continuing their journey. We are all guests in this great inn of impermanence. The houses we build, the wealth we accumulate, and the fame we chase cannot accompany us when our final day arrives. The only things that truly remain are the goodness we have shared, the kindness we have offered, and the state of our hearts. When we understand this simple truth, we begin to see life differently. We stop measuring success solely by material gain and start valuing peace, compassion, and wisdom. Many people spend their entire lives struggling against reality. They become angry when things do not happen as expected, resentful when others disappoint them, and fearful when change arrives. Yet change is not an enemy. Change is the very nature of existence. Nothing stands still. The child becomes an adult, the adult grows old, and every moment transforms into the next. Impermanence is not a punishment, it is a teacher. It gently reminds us to appreciate what we have while we have it. It encourages us to speak words of love before it is too late, to forgive before resentment hardens, and to live fully in the present moment. When we resist impermanence, suffering grows. When we accept it, wisdom begins to bloom. Another profound truth is the law of cause and effect. Every thought, every word, and every action plants a seed. These seeds eventually bear fruit. This principle is often called karma, not as a system of reward and punishment, but as the natural unfolding of causes and conditions. The kindness we offer creates harmony. The anger we nurture creates conflict. The habits we repeat shape our future. Understanding this law helps us stop blaming others for every difficulty we encounter. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin asking, "What can this situation teach me?" Every challenge contains a lesson. Every hardship carries an opportunity for growth. The people who hurt us may unknowingly reveal our hidden attachments. The failures we fear may teach humility and resilience. The losses we experience may help us discover what truly matters. Seen through the eyes of wisdom, nothing is wasted. Even pain can become a doorway to understanding. One of the heaviest burdens people carry is attachment. We become attached to people, fearing their departure. We become attached to success, fearing failure. We become attached to praise, fearing criticism. Attachment creates a constant state of anxiety because we try to hold on to things that are naturally changing. Yet letting go does not mean giving up. Letting go does not mean becoming indifferent or irresponsible. True letting go means giving our best effort without becoming enslaved by outcomes. It means loving deeply without trying to possess. It means serving wholeheartedly without demanding recognition. Imagine holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the more sand slips through your fingers. The gentler your grip, the more naturally it rests in your palm. Life is much the same. Peace arises not from controlling everything, but from learning how to flow with reality. Among all attachments, the most difficult to release is attachment to the ego. Material possessions can be lost, relationships may change, but the ego constantly demands attention. It wants to be right, it wants to be admired, It wants to win every argument and prove its superiority. Yet this endless pursuit creates exhaustion. The more we defend the ego, the less freedom we experience. Real liberation begins when we stop asking how to appear important and start asking how to become kind. A humble heart is lighter than a proud mind. A peaceful person does not need to prove their worth, because they have already discovered it within themselves. The ancient teaching of knowing enough offers another path toward happiness. Modern society often encourages endless desire. We are told that happiness lies in the next purchase, the next achievement, the next milestone. Yet desire has no natural endpoint. Once one wish is fulfilled, another immediately appears. A person may sit upon a mountain of gold and still feel poor because their craving never ends. Another person may possess very little and yet feel rich because gratitude fills their heart. Contentment is not the absence of ambition. It is the ability to appreciate what already exists while continuing to grow with wisdom. When we know enough, life becomes lighter. We stop comparing ourselves to others. We stop chasing every passing temptation. We discover that joy often resides in simple things. A shared meal, a quiet morning, a sincere conversation, a peaceful breath. The present moment is where life truly happens. Yet many people rarely live there. Some are trapped in memories of the past, replaying old mistakes and old wounds. Others are consumed by worries about the future, imagining problems that may never arrive. As a result, they miss the only moment they actually possess. The present moment is not merely a point in time. It is the doorway to peace. When we bring awareness to our breathing, when we fully experience the sounds around us, when we engage completely with the task before us, the restless mind begins to settle. We realize that much of our suffering comes not from reality itself, but from our thoughts about reality. The storm exists primarily in the mind. Beneath those thoughts lies a deeper stillness that has always been present. Many people search for peace in distant places. They believe that happiness exists somewhere else, hidden in a different city, a different job, a different relationship, or a different circumstance. Yet no matter where they go, they often carry the same worries, fears, and frustrations within them. This is because true peace is not found outside ourselves. Peace is an inner condition. It arises when the mind no longer fights against reality. Imagine a calm lake on a windless morning. The water reflects the sky with perfect clarity. But when the wind becomes strong, the surface turns restless and distorted. The mind behaves in a similar way. When desires, fears, and attachments dominate our thoughts, clarity disappears. We react impulsively, speak carelessly, and create unnecessary suffering. When the mind becomes still, wisdom naturally emerges. We begin to see situations more clearly. We respond instead of react. We understand instead of judge. We forgive instead of condemn. This inner stillness is not weakness. It is one of the greatest strengths a human being can develop. Life will continue to present challenges. People will misunderstand us. Plans will fail. Unexpected losses will occur. Yet a stable mind remains like a mountain beneath changing weather. Storms may pass across its surface, but its foundation remains unmoved. One beautiful story speaks of a wise teacher sitting quietly with his students during the final season of his life. As evening approached, a cup of tea rested beside him. The students noticed that the tea, once hot and fragrant, had gradually cooled. Seeing their attention, the teacher smiled and said that life resembles this cup of tea. It begins with warmth, energy, and movement. Over time, it cools and settles. Nothing remains in the same state forever. The lesson was not meant to inspire sadness. Instead, it encouraged awareness. If everything changes, then every moment becomes precious. Every conversation matters. Every act of kindness becomes significant. Every opportunity to love becomes sacred. Too often, people postpone happiness. They say they will be grateful when they earn more money. They will rest when they achieve success. They will appreciate life after solving every problem. Yet life continues moving forward while they wait for a perfect future that never arrives. The truth is that happiness is not waiting at the end of the journey. Happiness is discovered within the journey itself. It is found in ordinary moments that many overlook. It is found in the warmth of sunlight through a window, the laughter of a child, the comfort of a familiar voice, the gentle rhythm of breathing. These simple experiences become extraordinary when we are fully present. Another important lesson concerns forgiveness. Carrying resentment is like carrying a heavy stone in a backpack during a long journey. The longer we hold it, the heavier it feels. Some people spend years replaying old injuries in their minds. They revisit painful memories again and again, believing they are protecting themselves from future hurt. Yet in reality, they are extending the life of their suffering. Forgiveness does not mean approving harmful actions. It does not mean forgetting important lessons. Forgiveness means choosing not to let the past continue poisoning the present. It is a gift we offer ourselves. When resentment is released, energy becomes available for healing, growth, and compassion. The same principle applies to self-forgiveness. Many people are far harsher toward themselves than they would ever be toward another person. They carry guilt over mistakes made years ago. They define themselves by failures rather than lessons learned. Yet every human being makes mistakes. Growth is impossible without them. Wisdom is often born from experiences that once seemed painful or embarrassing. Instead of asking why we failed, we can ask what the experience taught us. Every lesson learned becomes part of our strength. Every obstacle overcome becomes part of our character. The journey toward inner freedom requires patience. We cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. Growth follows its own natural rhythm. Some days the mind feels peaceful. Other days it feels restless. Some days compassion comes easily. Other days irritation appears without warning. This is normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Each time we notice anger without becoming consumed by it, awareness grows. Each time we choose kindness over hostility, wisdom grows. Each time we return to the present moment, peace grows. Little by little, the heart becomes lighter. The world often celebrates those who accumulate more, achieve more, and possess more. Yet history repeatedly shows that external success alone cannot guarantee happiness. Many wealthy individuals remain anxious. Many famous individuals remain lonely. Many powerful individuals remain dissatisfied. External conditions can provide comfort, but they cannot provide lasting fulfillment. Lasting fulfillment emerges from alignment between our actions and our values. It emerges from living with integrity, compassion, gratitude, and purpose. A person with a peaceful heart possesses a treasure greater than anything money can buy. Such a person remains grateful during times of abundance and resilient during times of hardship. They understand that circumstances come and go, but character remains. In the end, what people remember is rarely the size of a bank account or the number of possessions accumulated. They remember kindness. They remember generosity. They remember how someone made them feel. A gentle word spoken at the right moment can remain in a person's memory for decades. A small act of compassion can transform an entire life. This understanding encourages us to focus less on what we can gain and more on what we can contribute. When we shift from self-centered thinking towards service, life gains a deeper meaning. The heart naturally expands, relationships become richer, gratitude becomes more frequent. The world appears less threatening and more interconnected. We begin to recognize that every person carries invisible struggles. Every person seeks happiness and wishes to avoid suffering. This realization gives birth to compassion. Compassion does not mean agreeing with everyone. It means understanding the shared humanity beneath our differences. It means remembering that kindness is often more powerful than judgment. As we continue walking through life, there comes a moment when we realize that the greatest battles are not fought against the world, but within ourselves. The struggle between fear and courage, between anger and understanding, between attachment and freedom, shapes the quality of our existence far more than any external circumstance. Every day presents countless opportunities to choose. We can choose resentment or forgiveness. We can choose worry or trust. We can choose greed or contentment. These choices may seem small in the moment, but over time they determine the direction of our lives. A river does not carve through stone because of its power alone, but because of its persistence. In the same way, a peaceful and meaningful life is built through small acts repeated consistently. A kind word, a patient response, a grateful thought, a mindful breath. These simple practices gradually transform the heart. One of the most beautiful qualities a person can cultivate is gratitude. Gratitude shifts attention away from what is missing and toward what is already present. It reminds us that even during difficult periods, there are blessings that often go unnoticed. The ability to breathe freely, to see the morning light, to hear the voices of loved ones, to experience another day of life. These are gifts beyond measure. When gratitude becomes a habit, abundance begins to appear everywhere, not because circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because awareness changes. The mind stops obsessing over what it lacks and starts appreciating what it has. This simple shift creates profound peace. There is also great wisdom in accepting uncertainty. Much of human suffering arises from the desire to control outcomes. We want guarantees about the future. We want certainty in relationships, careers, health, and success. Yet life offers no such promises. The future remains unwritten. At first, this uncertainty may seem frightening, but it can also be liberating. If nothing is fixed, then new possibilities always exist. Mistakes can become lessons, endings can become beginnings, difficult chapters can become sources of wisdom. Acceptance does not mean passivity. It means recognizing the limits of our control while still acting with sincerity and effort. We plant the seed, water the soil, and care for the garden, but we cannot command the flower to bloom. We do our best and allow life to unfold. This balance between effort and surrender is the essence of inner freedom. Imagine carrying a heavy suitcase through a long journey. At first, you may not notice the weight. But as the hours pass, every step becomes more exhausting. Eventually, you realize that much of your suffering comes not from the journey itself, but from what you are carrying. Many people move through life burdened by old regrets, unresolved anger, unnecessary comparisons, unrealistic expectations, and endless desires. The invitation of wisdom is simple. Put down what no longer serves you. Release what cannot be changed. Learn from the past without living inside it. Prepare for the future without becoming imprisoned by it. Return again and again to this moment, because This moment is where life exists. A peaceful person is not someone who has escaped all problems. A peaceful person is someone who has learned how to meet problems with clarity and balance. They understand that happiness and sadness, gain and loss, praise and criticism are all part of the human experience. Like changing seasons, they come and go. Nothing remains forever. Therefore, there is no need to cling desperately to pleasant experiences or fearfully resist unpleasant ones. Nothing passes. The fast, wise person remains steady. They enjoy blessings when they arrive and maintain dignity when challenges appear. Their happiness does not depend entirely on circumstances, because it is rooted in something deeper. At the end of life, very few people wish they had spent more time worrying. Very few wish they had accumulated more possessions at the expense of meaningful relationships. Instead, many wish they had loved more openly, forgiven more quickly, laughed more often, and appreciated the ordinary moments that once seemed insignificant. This realization offers an important lesson for the present. We do not need to wait until the end of life to understand what matters. We can choose today. We can choose to slow down. We can choose to listen more carefully. We can choose to treat others with respect and ourselves with compassion. We can choose to live with greater awareness. Every sunrise is a reminder that life grants us another opportunity to begin again. No matter what happened yesterday, this moment offers a fresh start. The heart can heal, the mind can learn, the spirit can grow. There is always another chance to choose kindness over anger, understanding over judgment, and wisdom over impulse. Perhaps the true purpose of life is not to become someone extraordinary in the eyes of the world, but to become deeply awake to the beauty of ordinary existence, to walk gently, to speak honestly, to love sincerely, to help where possible, to forgive when necessary, to appreciate what is present, to leave behind a little more kindness than we received. When we live in this way, fear gradually loses its power. The future becomes less threatening. The past becomes less heavy. The present becomes more vivid. And within that presence, we discover something that cannot be bought, earned, or possessed. We discover peace. So as you continue your own journey through this ever-changing world, remember that life is temporary, but every moment holds meaning. Possessions will fade, titles will disappear, circumstances will change, yet a compassionate heart, a clear mind, and a spirit grounded in wisdom remain treasures beyond measure. Walk lightly, speak kindly, live truthfully, be grateful for what you have. Be patient with what you do not yet understand. Trust the unfolding of life, and whenever the road becomes difficult, return to the simple awareness of your breath. In that quiet space, beyond fear, beyond attachment, beyond endless striving, you may discover that the peace you have been searching for has been within you all along. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. Happiness is not found by holding on more tightly to life, but by learning how to meet life with an open heart, a gentle spirit, and the wisdom to let go.